Yo,
Oh, hey, how's it going?
it's going all right.
Didn't
Where's
know,
Joe?
I don't know. No one else is here. Yeah, it's doing
It
the,
says Aiden. Aiden's on whatever.
yeah, sabbatical of some sort. So that's fine.
Yeah, he's usually the chipper one on these Europe time zone meetings.
Yeah, I usually get distracted enough with work that I miss most of these like early ones. I'm like, oh, crap, it's 9:30. I'm like, all right, well, oh
Mm.
well, you know. All right. I'll
On the
give
dock.
folks just a second to join in. But we're already five over, so uh yep, sign into the doc. New faces. I don't think anyone here is new. Um, let's check the RFCs. We don't have any that are need a steward. We don't have any that are marked as ready for review, and nothing is marked as open.
Should I? I opened my one RC. I wonder if I should tag it for stuff.
The Rust one.
No, the steering committee one.
Ah.
Sam approved it already.
Yeah,
Um,
you should link it here somewhere so we can have some context of what you're talking about. I don't
yeah,
think I've seen it, but
I'll just put it in agenda. How do I get Google to do the like replace? I guess I can't. It's fine.
I think they only do their own or something. I don't know. Nice. So this is related to the TOC, presumably, right?
Yeah.
Proposing a steering committee. Nice.
Yep.
Nice. Did you want to say anything about this today or anything? Do you need, I don't know what you need for something like this, the steering committee RFCs. Like, I don't really know how this works.
I mean, yeah, this is yeah, this is basically in response to a bunch of our some of the feedback from graduation. And so trying to figure out how to solve the diversity problem we have and then separate, I guess, like some of the governance and other things and model stuff after some of the stuff we've seen from other graduated projects. Um, where I think we want to get some more involvement from some of the adopted end user um, companies that may not necessarily have as much time to invest in the project, but CNBs are obviously critical to um, their platform that they're using. So trying to get some of their voices more into the ecosystem.
Nice. Makes sense.
Definitely love some input from someone from Chromeware on it as well.
Awesome. Well, we'll let people.
You can tag me on it too if you want. You don't have to, but feel free to bother us and tag our GitHub handles. Is it
Yeah.
the Terrence? Were you talking about the steering committee one?
Yeah, steering committee one.
Um, that is all that is listed on the agenda. What do we have anything we want to chat about? I know we've kind of got a few kind of spinning plates in this, ecosystem. We were talking about testing out like a Rust version of the launcher. I think there's an RFC somewhere for that that probably needs to have votes and reviews at some point if it doesn't have it already.
Yeah. I think there was some work as well for that for the our discussions on migration. I think we
Yeah.
probably need to finalize some stuff before it's ready for voting, but it's definitely ready for the most part, at least, reviews and opinions from our discussion either last week or 2 weeks ago. I
Yeah.
think it was 2 weeks ago. Um, I know Joe as well opened up or finally enabled all the FOSSA stuff.
Yeah, I was gonna ask about that just because it was like broken and I didn't really know what to do about it. Um, I saw it show up in the life cycle PRs, uh, but I personally couldn't do anything, so I wasn't really sure. Like, no one gave me any links to this, so I wasn't really sure what to do. Like, I've gone through this like several times, but like it always asks me for the same stuff every time for some reason. But Yeah, it doesn't really matter. Sure, recommended by. um, but I don't. It starts here, and I'm like, I don't want to set up a new organization, presumably. So I wasn't sure like who has context on this.
Let's ping Joe about it. He's the one that set it up.
Okay, yeah, I just would have assumed that I would have already magically been logged in with the whole GitHub stuff. So it didn't work out the way that I thought. So in order to resolve any issues or even see the issues that it has, I think I need to be able to log in. So I'll ping Joe about that. I'll put it in here so that
Yeah,
way
I
I'm aware.
tried that before he set it up, but
Okay.
I was hoping it worked after he set it up. So, but I know we get this through the CNCF, so
Cool. Yeah, I'd like to understand what the intent is there as well. Like I know what the intent is, I guess, but like what the we're starting from behind. Presumably Lifecycle has 8 issues. I have no idea what those 8 issues are yet. I haven't really clicked through, but we'll need to figure out like what the expectations of any timeline to take action or mark them as, not what I don't know. So just talk to Joe about it. It sounds like
um, yeah,
cool.
yeah. I think it's just stuff that kind of came up during our
Yeah,
due diligence graduation stuff as well.
yeah. I remember it being talked about a little bit early on that we would need to make sure that we're following the compliance stuff.
Yeah, I also got pinged by Facila on um revisiting the GTR that we were looking at. I need to go find that doc again. Um, I think it was this doc. Uh, I probably need to double check there. Let me paste it in the. I think the tech review.
Okay. Um,
I think that Google Doc had some comments that I think they wanted input on still. Uh,
there's so much stuff in here. All right.
yeah.
Got it. Okay. Well, tag me if you specifically want me to reply to anything in the technical review, um, or if you'd
Yeah.
like me to read the entire thing and make random comments, I can do that too. But
Uh,
presumably
I,
you and Joe and
I
Aiden have already been in this, so
yeah, I think I need to, it's probably just like comments on the wherever they're commenting. I need to go look through
okay,
and see what we need to do. But she pinged me this
got it.
late last night or this morning on it. So
Anything else for the agenda that we want to chat about?
do you all have anything on the Chromeware side that you wanted to bring up?
Nothing specific. I have a quick question on the um, steering committee RFC.
Go for it.
Just curious. I was reading through. Everything looks pretty good here. I was looking at the corporate representation cap language, and it made me think about um, you've got the language in here for the affiliates and subsidiaries, but I was curious on the um, I'm walking up the chain in my mind of the relationship of Paketo to Cloud Foundry Foundation to like Broadcom or whoever else, and like, the loose association or however that's presented, but it was making me think about like, do you need some sort of language in there that may infer like if somebody is here or if somebody is on the steering committee representing an open source project that is clearly maintained but not technically owned by a corporate entity where another person serving on the steering committee is part of that corporate entity. Like, does that need to be something that gets like called out where, oh, technically I'm not, a part of corporate company, but we're obviously allied. That
Do
could
you
be a
mean
simple question.
like I work for, in this case, like Broadcom, I guess use like this example, but also I'm a maintainer on Paketo. Like, but in theory, I'm not representing Broadcom here, but then there's other people on the committee that are ready from Broadcom. Like, should I be allowed?
Right, like, or is there consideration for that to prevent an unintentional majority or something? Um, it just, you know how dicey it is with open source these days,
Yeah.
we're trying to get around stuff. It's probably totally frivolous, but it was just a curiosity question. And
I mean, I guess my intention probably is like if you work like I like for instance, I think part of it should be like if you are if you work for that company, then it counts against like seats for that company, regardless
right,
of your why you're on the committee.
There's always like weird legal loopholes, right? Like,
yeah,
yeah,
that
because
I
they
was. It
could
was
be the
almost.
only
And I wasn't
contributor.
criticizing the content or anything. It was kind of like, huh, interesting thought that I wonder if is
Yeah,
reasonable.
because it's kind of like the bigger ones, like Carpenter and stuff, or something, right? Like some of these things might be donated by like a lot of different companies, but primarily by one. And so, like, anyway, I don't know. It's interesting to think about what what that would look
Yeah,
like,
like
but I have no
we're
answers.
if we're the maintainer of our Opinio project and we open up to having a steering committee, an open steering committee for that, or create like the Opinio Foundation or something. or donate it to the CNCF or whatever else. And then if we've got if Crumware has a seat on the steering committee, but then somebody in the Appenio Foundation has a seat on the steering committee, that's almost very clearly two people from the same, like, not the same organization, but obviously kind of the same broader group that
Yeah.
have seats. It's just curious.
Oh, I see. So you mean from like not even from company lines, like just like influence lines or whatever?
Yeah, yeah. Like it almost encourages me to. This sounds like something that would be like CNCF TOC level more so, but like it would maybe you'd have to say, hey, if you were going to do this seat, then the Opinio Foundation has to show that it has a diversity of steering committee members, and that no single company holds a majority of the whatever, you know.
Yeah.
That's kind
Yeah,
of
I think that makes sense. I don't know how much that applies for how small the committee is here.
Yeah. Yeah. I think
Um,
that's the biggest issue, right? Because we are not too many people.
yeah.
And
No,
we,
I don't think you have to add this to the doc or anything or to the RFC
okay.
or anything. It was
yeah, no,
more of
I think it's a good question. I think because we don't have like foundation seats or anything, I don't know how much it applies to us, but maybe I am missing something.
it just hasn't come up yet.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, everything else looks pretty good though. Did you if you do you want me to just like add a comment to the PR to
Yep.
say, hey, it looks good to me?
Yep.
Cool.
Yeah. And then I guess then we're gonna have to find people to fill those seats.
Yeah.
I will read that when I I haven't.
Cool. Do you have any other comments on that besides that one question?
No, I think it's a good step in the right direction. I would like the only other thing I had thought about was like the two end user seats versus the three maintainer seats, and just from the platform from the platform TCG side, like the CNCF stuff that we've dealt with there, it's like we get minimal. They keep promoting engagement from the end user tab, but we get minimal engagement from the end user tab, just by nature of the ecosystem. Um, and so it may be tough to fill those two end user
Yeah,
seats with active members.
yeah, that I was thinking about that. I mean I think we would want to pull in people that like I think there are people that it's like what does active mean? It probably is like, it's like once a quarter, like kind of thing. It's like pretty low commit, but it's um ideally they are people who are active but not like super investment active, if that makes sense.
Yeah, it may encourage you to go seek out active contributors too, which could be
Yeah.
a good thing in the eyes of the TOC. Like you're committed to maintaining active things. We did in the TCG where there are updates that Bob and some of the other folks are doing to guidelines for participation from like active participation from maintainers and the commitment to that. And um, we encouraged him to do that with the technical community groups and there's a new group type called user group coming as well. But we've encouraged enforcing those as well because even in our group, if the in our case the TOC requires that people apply to a TOC managed issue for election to our chairs, like to our board. And we have had an issue for like with inactivity, and we want to set expectation that if you're going to apply as like a co-chair or try to join this, that there is a commitment that you are making. And it's fine if you want to step back and step down because you can't make that commitment or do a temporary absence or something. But that was a relief to us to be able to say, hey, if TOC, if you're going to do elections or oversee this, that like we're on the same page as far as um, what activity expectations you give to the people that are applying. So it might be nice to do something additional to the steering, like not in this document maybe, but to have a document for expectations of activity, like may, must, will, that kind of thing.
Okay.
But I don't want that to slow down your thing here.
No, it's fine. It's I think it's all good input and feedback. I mean, I guess being totally open, it's just like uh I guess I was looking at you, the Google folks, like as potential candidates to kind of fill
Mhm.
that seat. Like people who are regularly active but like aren't necessarily maintainers of the projects. I mean, maybe
Right.
you will get there, right? And maybe we move that end user seat to someone else, but I feel like people who are invested in the project, like I know the yeah, like it like powers Cloud Run, right? Like I feel like they should have a
Right.
voice, in the project and in some way because it is critical, but they clearly don't have the capacity to like field a maintainer on the project, but their input matters.
Yeah, some of the best advice that I've gotten in the past about this kind of stuff is like by being a chair or a steering committee member doesn't mean that you are like writing the code and doing that work. It's your job to facilitate the growth of the community to be able to do that. It's a steering committee, not a doing committee.
Yep.
Obviously, you have to do things, but um, like, yeah, that's totally cool. I think that makes a lot of sense.
Good.
But yeah, somebody should be able to commit to like you gotta make decisions and review issues and review PRs and make comments on every RFC as it comes through, or at least every other one, or at least bring up issues, or assign somebody else to go comment on the RFC or whatever else. Like
Yep.
you're in a position right now where you don't have many active core like steering committee members, but I don't think that means that you should how do you say like make concessions or pre-apologize for asking people to commit to being active if they join this steering committee or make a commitment to being active. I think that would be a good thing.
Yep.
It can be attractive to people too, actually. Yeah, we want you to be on this committee and we know we need you to be active. And now you know that everyone else on the committee is expected to also be active. And so you won't be the only team member in the group project doing all of the work, that kind of thing. It's cool.
Yep.
Sorry, that's a lot. Yeah, and we'd be happy to help out.
Cool.
I'll get Rudra or a D on it. I had a question about, and Rudra might too. This will be a noob question, or I'm kind of just asking on the outside a little bit, but build packs extensions. Um, we had so we're working on a collection of base images on a mutable distro, SUSE Linux Micro, and um, somebody made a comment to us that maybe we shouldn't do those from the ground up. Maybe we should just make extensions that use SUSE Linux Micro, but they start with um, the Paketo base images, and because then you'd get the logic, right? You'd get some of the logic that they'd built, but then maybe some of the upside of you know which distro we have to run our stuff on, kind of thing. But it didn't that suggestion didn't totally make sense to me, or didn't totally track. But I kind of wanted to see if you guys had some advice or thoughts on that. And I'm thinking about like the layers and some of the
Mm.
structure, but like my thought is if we're targeting a specific distro, like if we have a need to target a specific distro like SUSE Linux for whatever reason, or secure images and all that other stuff, and then we introduce like the Paketo, um, and if we're using build pack extensions, I imagine there are probably some of those same supply chain concerns that we should think through. Like we're not totally isolated from the idea that maybe we should build the complete stack all the way up, or does build pack extensions really give us that security, that isolation that we need? Um,
Yeah,
I
I'm
don't know if
pretty
that question makes
sure.
sense, but
Yeah, I mean, it makes sense. Like extensions, you can either extend the run image that it was already chosen or just replace it outright, right? So I
mhm,
think the idea that sounds like someone is pitching is use Paketo to like build, but then basically your run image would be under your control, and then you would just the layers would just be placed on top of your run image, your immutable run image, which sounds fine. I think it kind of depends on compatibility. Like I don't really know what the story is between building on something like kind of a fatter Paketo image and then transplanting that over to an extension on top of a different run image, with different vendors. Like you'll have to keep compatibility, and they may make
yeah,
assumptions around the build packs that they use or things like that. But I mean, it sounds viable. To your point, it doesn't protect you from the security side of like the Paketo build packs having some sort of or that run image or the build image that it builds on top of being insecure in some way. Like now you still have to scan that and assume that supply chain attacks could happen at that stage, right? Yeah, so I don't know if it really changes the security story other than your actual produced run images will be, you know, uh, if a supply chain attack makes assumptions about the shape of the Paketo like final run images and tries to abuse that, then maybe you would be in a better spot, right? And if you kind of squint, because you would have less stuff in your run image, and maybe the attack chain that somehow changes your process launches and stuff like that would just fail. But it doesn't change too much, I don't think.
So like
that's
architecturally extensions, do they get applied to the builder image or the run image?
Extensions, they you can either swap out the run image or they extend the run image. So they don't do anything with the build image.
good clarification. I think
So
that's
the
helpful,
idea is that
Ruja.
you would take like a smaller run image and install like CrowdStrike or something like that, like something that you need for your ecosystem, or a bunch of packages like app packages or something like that that you want on your run image, but the vendor doesn't normally do or something like that, right? You
I
extend the
think
Paketo run image.
Yeah, I think the person who was bringing this up to us was thinking that you could extend the build image. That's what it sounds like. Is that what it sounds like
Yeah,
to you, Deirdre?
yeah. Because the example he was giving was the Red Hat UBI um, recent inclusion into Paketo's build packs.
But
Can you
there,
share that link to chat, Ruja?
Um,
there
the
He shared the article about the UVI images.
Yeah, there's a GitHub link as well. I'll share both
can't
of
you
them.
do build.dockerfile, Jesse, and run.dockerfile? I thought you could extend both the build and run.
Yeah, I'm trying
Like
to.
run was phase one, and then we eventually made build because like one of the use cases was I need to add like some dev
That's
header.
true. Yeah, you can.
So
You
I feel like
can
you're
do a
thinking about,
Dockerfile.build.
I think the build is less common and it was
Yeah.
like the last thing that was added, but I'm pretty
Yeah, I
sure
think
you
I had
still
forgotten
can.
about that. Yeah.
So I think you can extend the build. It's just people tend to not do it as often.
Yeah, I was just looking at the spec to kind of figure out the yeah, so there is a context dot build or build dot docker file. Okay. So you can take the base image in this case, which would be the build image, and then, extend it basically. Okay. Yeah, I kind of forgot that we did that, so that's my fault for leading you astray. But yeah. Yeah, so you could do the same thing, presumably. It is going to be a good bit slower than if you brought your own stuff, right? Because you basically have to, you know, uh, Docker build your build image before you get going, right? Obviously, if you just point somewhere else, it's not that much slower. You still have to. There's still kind of a little bit of indirection because you end up kind of booting on top of a builder image, like the Keto builder image, just to kind of figure out that I don't really want to use that, and now I have to, boot a container on top of your now, redirected kind of builder image for the actual build phase. But it's yeah, seems fine.
That's good insight. You don't happen to have like notes somewhere on cons or considerations for um,
No, our
extensions?
spec, if you haven't looked at our spec, it is laid out there exactly what. That's just more the technical details. I think the feature itself relies on Conoco. So that's kind of like we moved from Google's Conoco, which they stopped, maintaining basically to who is it that does it now?
Chain guard?
ChainGuard. ChainGuard took over that, and so we are using that. So I think that's for me from a technical standpoint, that's like the biggest risk is that Conoco is kind of we're using it in sort of a unexpected way. Like it's usually meant to just kind of run in container to do some, rootless like Docker builds, but we're kind of using it as a library. So like a little bit of a uneasiness there. I think like mega long term, but it's probably fine. There's nothing else like it. So we kind of looked at swapping before, and like there's some other things that are plausible, but we never made the switch.
Well, I appreciate the feedback. Yeah, it's super helpful.
Yeah.
I don't know who uses extensions too much. Like it was
Red Hat.
surprisingly like yeah, Red Hat
Yeah.
Yeah.
really.
Yeah. I think Ozzy was the biggest driver of it,
Yeah.
who
Yeah.
I at the time need it for the UBI stuff.
Yeah.
I think some of the like Google was looking into it as well. I think at one point, I think the biggest challenges when I was talking to James, who was the PM at the time, I don't know if he still is over that group, but it's a similar thing. I think even for Heroku for like public platform is depending on what you're doing for extensions, you're likely locking yourself out of the ability to rebase because you're making a snowflake image. If you're doing the
Hmm.
build, yeah, like if you're literally installing like individual packages. Um, I think we were considering or looking at the run image replacement one, which was like one of the earlier things we added because you can then at least control the blast radius of like, okay, it's just this image. Like you go from like one run image to like two or three, and you can rebase those because you control them from under the hood. But like, I think if you're like literally snowflaking image at, build time, uh, then obviously it doesn't really like you aren't like making a base image ahead of time that matches that run image that was just created on the fly, right? Like so you kind of lose out on that. I feel like huge benefit that a lot of people like about build packs. So that's kind of the the thing, I guess, to weigh in, think about. But if like what you're doing is an extension is just like modifying some whatever thing that isn't touched by the base image, then you can rebase, right? Like maybe you're installing a cert somewhere on the disk,
I think
right?
unlike run images, I think the build extensions you have to start with the base because in the run image you can basically swap it out to anything. Like if you wanted to swap it to your own minimal, complete different, like it has to have like the labels to be it has to be CNB compatible, but you can otherwise basically do what you want. Like you don't have to use the target run image that was going to be used. But in the builder sense, you have to start with the builder image, and I don't think we allow like multi-stage in the builder stuff, right? So like you have to start with like from whatever base that we were building from. So it is really purely an extension, not like a swap like it is on the run side. So you are building off of whatever is there, which is fine, but just something to note when you read through this. I think it's a little different.
Yeah, my gut, Brudra, is that it's extensions are handy, but it doesn't replace the need for the builders.
No, I think the Red Hat extensions they're getting applied to the Red Hat builders anyways. So I think what the other guy was thinking was maybe too
Yeah,
premature.
yeah. He said they pulled those into the UBI builders got pulled into the Paketo build packs org.
Yeah, yeah, it did. But the I think the base images, UBI base images, are also part of the org.
Okay,
They are.
cool. Well, we appreciate the feedback on it, guys. Didn't mean to distract.
Yeah, no. That's what we're here for. Yeah, give it a shot, and yeah, if there's anything that would be more useful to building on top of that, let us know. We don't use extensions internally here, or at least I don't in my part of the org. So it'd be interesting to hear use cases that are, you know, off of what Ozzy helped
Yeah.
with.
Yeah, I think we have some use cases for them too. But it sounds like one of those like um, it adds flexibility at the known cost, right, of speed or other things that you still need. So
Yeah,
not a
and you
new
can't
kind of
do
concept,
trusted, right? Like, because it does have to
right?
be in its own container. So, like, you have to immediately be okay with that, which is fine, I think, for most people. But it makes all your pack builds just that little bit slower, more containers to juggle, things like that. But
Yeah, experiment, use extensions, experiment, and when it gets to a point where you're doing this one a lot, promote it to like make a new base. Yeah, which is nothing new. But we have data centers now the size of whole states. So who cares?
yeah, it's not my compute, right? Yeah. I'm sure Claude will figure it out for you.
Uh,
All right.
do you guys have an article or I'm sorry, I keep asking questions. In the catch up on the build packs, like the KubeCon talk, um, it was mentioned that there were some things coming for like AI with build packs or whatever. I'm sure that's a lot, but didn't know if there's any particular place that we should look or align with or understand. Maybe it's just going in and looking at the RFCs and stuff, but or people's blogs. You Google for it and it's just not.
Who
You
did
don't really find anything.
who did the talk? I don't think I've seen this one.
Aiden.
Aiden and
Yeah, it did.
This one.
I don't know. I'll think about that one later. That's a distraction. Final thing is I will be at KubeCon Japan. If you guys need any help there, um, like need somebody to work the booth or something for part of the day
we
or
didn't
whatever.
we didn't submit for booth because I didn't know anyone going to Japan.
Cool. Yeah, it's pretty small anyway. I got invited to do a talk, and so that's the only reason I'm going.
Oh,
Um, but yeah, but I didn't know if you guys need any help, so I was just putting it out there. And I'll shut up now.
It's all good. It's
Yeah,
always
it's nice.
better when the community engages, right?
Yeah.
Is it worth talking about the like the launcher migration stuff? I think I have talked with both Juan and Jesse, but independently of each other.
Yeah. What's the
But
what are you
now
currently
both
thinking?
of them are in the same room, so we can not be
I'm
like ships.
thinking no migration, just hard migration at version barrier. I don't want to juggle two different launchers in lifecycle slash pack slash anything else. Like I think it's easier to. We already have the version. Uh, yeah, the version stuff. Like pack knows which lifecycle to put inside of all the app images and stuff. Or all the builders rather, and then the lifecycle knows the copy itself basically into the app images. I prefer not to explode that with complexity, but
Yeah, so the idea is starting from a life cycle X version with which will have inside the Rust launcher. Then I will do pack build with that lifecycle version. Then I will ship my app image with the Rust launcher. If
yeah,
in any case you have troubles booting your application, then just do pack build with the previous version for the lifecycle with the Go launcher. And that's it.
yeah, you have
That's
to roll back your builder or whatever, right? Like if you're using a builder,
yeah,
if you're a builder
yeah,
maintainer, then you would need to probably roll it back for your users, right? So they don't have to do it. But Pack also has the ability to send in a lifecycle, right? So like you could
yeah.
still do,
Yes, yes.
yeah,
Yes,
something like
yes. You
that.
can still use like the builder, but using a different version for the life cycle. Uh, so from pack perspective, there will be no change on how it will build the app image, adding the launcher layer and everything, because in theory, everything should be smoothly. Um, the other option was like shipping life cycle with both launchers, so I can like turn on and off the option to use one launcher or the other. And we don't want to go that path.
Yeah, I would prefer not to go that path. Because I don't think anyone's gonna be like, yeah, I want to try it out. And so we're gonna have this same like, you know, cliff, I think. Like even if we ship both, the at some point we have to make the default Rust to actually get usage because the only people who are gonna try it out are gonna be like us, and like we're probably gonna try it out um in the same way that we're already testing it. And so I don't know. I don't find like there's too much value because now everyone's images get a little bit bigger, or I guess not everyone's images. My images, the build packs lifecycle image has to get a little bit bigger because it has to ship both launcher, which is a
Yes,
symlink, and also launcher Rust. And then lifecycle has to figure out which one to put in there based off of inputs that we have to thread all the way through from pack, right?
yes.
Which it's not difficult. I just don't find that there's going to be much value in doing that. Because no one's going to choose to use the Rust launcher, and like if someone has to, the only advantage would be to allow in users to quickly learn that the launcher needs to be reverted in case of troubles, right? Like they would be able to do pack build, disable experimental launcher or something like that. Like whenever we switch to
Hmm.
default, that would be like the only reason to push on that, I think.
Would you ship this with no other features in lifecycle and then basically I guess part of it is just like how long or are you gonna add features to the thing? Like are you gonna like backport features to the old
To the Go
lifecycle
version. Yeah.
with Go version? I guess like what is the maintenance policy that you want to commit to this
Yeah.
while we're rolling it out? I feel like
Yeah.
I feel like whatever we're proposing, there is a migration strategy
Yes.
because there is some whether that is being handled at the lifecycle versioning, like you're basically committing to like, I don't want to do this in lifecycle single version. I want to handle this via lifecycle
Yes.
versioning.
Yeah. Yeah, I think during the transition period, we just need to pick either a minimum number of releases or a number of days to maintain both versions. And that mostly comes down to, bug fixes, security fixes, like you said, on two different concurrent releases. So like on 0.24, we're going to do that one for, you know, 2 months or something like that. But also 1.0, that's going to be the one with the Rust launcher. And we will do, security fixes to both of those for 60 days while people roll this out, right? And so that you don't have any pressure of moving to the Rust launcher because of security reasons, is maybe something like that.
Would you backport features?
Um, Probably not. I mean, I don't think I'd want to. It would mostly just be like you can remain on this one and be secure while we test it out and help us test it out and tell us what bugs to fix in the new launcher if there are any. But I don't know if we really have a lot of lifecycle features coming down anyway, so it's a little more hypothetical. But if we had a bunch of lifecycle features related to launcher, which seems like a pretty small chance of that happening during the migration period, then
Yeah.
I guess we could come up, yeah, we could decide at that time whether it's worth backporting.
Do you want to, I guess, in the PR put down a whatever time frame of a thing that you're comfortable with,
Yeah.
if this is the
Sure.
thing we're gonna do?
Yeah.
Because I feel like that's mostly you doing that work. So is
Okay.
it like three
Sure.
months, whatever? I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah, I think a quarter sounds fine. Like a quarter maintenance releases of the old version for some amount of time.
And how do we like notify people that we're gonna do this starting from life cycle X version? Just blog posts. I mean, I think the communication strategy could be also useful to just let know people, hey, we're gonna change the launcher starting from this life cycle version, and if you have any trouble, this is the strategy we're gonna do. Everything, whatever we put on the RFC, I will try to also include how we're gonna, you know, notify that thing because
Yeah.
I think it's important for people to know that, hey, I'm relying on build packs, building my app image, and I'm always like building from latest thing. And then at some point, I just built my application and then it failed when I tried to run it. And then I will ask, hey, what did I do? But no, it was not me. It was because we are changing this thing. And that's fine. But I just want to be clear with the community that
Yeah.
we're going to do this. I mean, because it's going to be like that, eh? Switching one thing for the other, and that's it. If you want to go back, just do this. So we will probably need people to be prepared for that.
Yeah. Ideally, we'll at least do some sort of blog post in addition
Yeah,
to obviously the RFCs land. If anyone's following these, they will already know that it's coming at some point. But end users who are mostly not involved in the project, they will basically have no way of knowing. But most end users probably don't deal with that level of need. Like the builder,
Do-
the people building the builders are probably hopefully going to
yeah,
do most of our validation here anyway, because they're the ones who choose the lifecycle version. They're the ones who are going to see the version
yeah.
go
It
from 0
it's
dot
like
24
for
to
build pack
1.1.
providers, right?
Yeah. But there is still a little bit of intangible stuff here that we haven't talked about. Like if we remove launcher from Go eventually, or just let it sit there and rot, like, do we have users of Lifecycle as a library that we need to support in some way, where they're like maybe building their own launcher on
Ooh,
top of our launcher?
yeah.
Um, I don't know if that's actually happening, but we should probably call it out in the RFC. Um,
I do remember there are people using one of the projects as a library. I'm not sure if it's
Yeah.
Pack or is
No, we
it
use
Lifecycle.
pieces of like, life cycle and pack as a library to do, to use structs
Oh,
and stuff like that, but like not, but we're not building our own launcher from it. But it doesn't mean that someone's not using
yeah,
those types to parse to in similar ways, right? Like maybe they're
yeah,
processing their own image metadata using life cycles, launcher, structs or whatever.
yes,
And do we need to keep those for compatibility, or do we? Is it okay? We don't have guarantees for like every method to always exist or anything like that, but we should try to be good citizens here and try to
yes,
communication wise, like, do we need
yes.
to keep some of this stuff in the library? They can always, pull it back in, but if they're actually using like a launcher to build a
But
new launcher on top of it, it's going to be like a problem.
do we need to put it like on this period of, hey, yeah, we're gonna support this for security issues and stuff, but and we are planning like to remove this code at some point. So please
Yeah.
be prepared or whatever, uh, uh, if you're using it.
Yeah. Yeah. Maybe we
Good.
put that in the same RFC stuff. Like maybe it
Yeah.
follows the same timeline where like we actually hard dump or like privatize the like launcher stuff in the same 1.0 release, so it's the same cliff, and like if you need the libraries, then you'll be on the, you have a quarter to move off of those libraries to the new one, and we can, work with them on
Yeah.
and it's mostly getting rid of the functions that do the work. I think like I'm totally fine like trying to make sure that we have all of the same file parsers and struct parsers, and those remain active in lifecycle as a library even in the Go version, because we'll probably need them anyway. Like even,
Yeah.
like we're probably processing things that launcher processes, so there'll be a little bit of
Yeah.
duplication anyway from like Rust and Go where we have to process the same metadata files.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I think launcher is fairly stable too. So I think like
Yeah.
I think regardless of which direction we pick, even if we choose to keep it around, like it, I feel like it will be fairly stable. Or if we choose to dump it, it's like they can probably use a version of launcher like that's 2 years old now. Probably just work, like.
Yeah. All right, I gotta get out of here. But,
All
catch
right.
y'all later.
Do you want to drop a comment on those two things that you brought up in the
Yeah,
RFC? We should probably add them in.
yeah. The two things are the
Go
code
library
library
and
and
time
then just
maintenance.
the timing. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah, we'll do. All right.
cool. Thanks, all.
See ya.
Bye.